You ever want to see a breakout? Let's actually talk about how you can see a breakout right on the chart. So when we talk about breakouts can have a different duration of time. Some shorter term traders would look at a shorter term price filter or a duration of time. Other investors really want to see something more intermediate to longer term. Let me talk about some of the durations of time that we like to look at and why. So first off, we're going to start off with the chart ABV. And if you take a look at the ABV, we have a whole moving average, the 10-20 whole moving average with the shade. I'll share the chart with you in just a second. And what you're now going to notice is also on the chart we have a orange line. And if I right click on that line, it's going to say 10-day high. So this is really showing over time where the 10-day high is over time. So if I go back to this point in time, it would say go back the last 10 days. Where was the high over the last 10 prior trading days? It was right there. And that's why that plot is right there. Now, what you're going to notice is if this line is actually going down, what does it tell us about the highs over the previous 10 days? The highs have been getting lower. What does that tell you about trend? It tells us trend is falling. What does it tell us about momentum? It tells us momentum is falling. So you can actually kind of just look at the direction of that and kind of say what type of trend do we have and momentum. Now, what you're now going to notice is on the blue line, okay, so the orange line, that's the 10-day high. Think of that as the shorter term type of traders who maybe have a sweet spot of 2 to 3 days to 2-3 weeks. They're looking for the breakout. They're looking for the price to get above that line or touch the line. Second, we actually see that the blue line is a 20-day high, okay? Now remember, that's 1 month of trading. So if I went back here and said, okay, wait, what was that again? It's a 10-day high. That's 2 weeks of trading, the orange line. The blue line is going to be 1 month of trading. And the line above really that, what you're now going to notice is it's a 55-day high. So now, when does it get interesting? Well, so number one is it can be interesting if we're talking about something of showing signs of reversal. Well, we could actually see that the first time we had any reversal was on 4/24, where we actually started touching the line. What does that tell us? Tells us that other short-term investors might be seeing that in a scan or a search, and they might be saying, hey, we're seeing the stock actually hit a brand new high. First sign of it really making higher highs and potentially higher lows. Now, that does not guarantee that the stock's just going to go up indefinitely. It's just saying at the moment in time, that could be a good sign for momentum at that point in time. Now, what you're now going to notice is we kind of go up, 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 and we go up to the blue line. What is the blue line again? That's the 20-day high. That 20-day high, think of that as the more intermediate investors, okay? And so now on that is we're now seeing the price pretty much hit both lines. Does that guarantee the stock's going to go up? Nope. Now, what it might cause is other investors to try to get in. This is not just short term now. Now we got those intermediate investors coming in. And if we also see the stock actually hitting the 55-day high, now we could be getting longer term investors actually in, which kind of can cause sometimes some parabolic moves up or down, especially if we go up. Now, I'll show you that here in just a second. So the biggest actually thing is what you're going to notice is when this stock actually hits both those lines, the stock didn't go up at least at that point in time. The stock actually went up and hit a short-term high again. Hit it there, hit it there, hit it there, hit it there. Now what does that mean? Well, these short-term traders, they're probably going to be getting that in their scans and their searches, etc. And it's probably going to be on the radar of those investors. So some investors try to anticipate what other investors might be seeing and maybe trade on. Then all of a sudden we come up to, what do we get again? The price comes up to both lines. The orange line, think of it as shorter term type of traders. The blue line, think of more intermediate type traders. It might be on their radar and they might start to trade that and or invest in it. And all of a sudden what you're now going to notice is after a little consolidation, we now see in this case that all of a sudden the lines, the orange, the blue, and the gray, they start to show, well, all those lines are overlapping. So what does that probably mean? Well, shorter term investors, intermediate investors, longer term, they might be seeing the exact same setup, and it might cause, for example, the stock to go on a little bit of a run because it's not just short-term traders. It's really the convergence of all the above. Now, the reason why I kind of show you this is A lot of times the longer-term investors will say, I don't care what short-term investors are seeing. Or short-term investors say, I don't really care what intermediate investors are seeing. You actually really want to kind of see all of it, the combination. Now, I'm going to show you, if I went back to a stock example given like MU, Micron, you're now going to notice that kind of same type of thing again. Let me show you one more example. Now, what you're now going to notice is same thing, right? The orange line was actually going down. What does it tell us? Well, if we're talking about a bullish entry, we're probably not going to get a strong signal if we can't even hit, what is that again? The 10-day high. Now, if we can't hit a 10-day high, it probably tells us we're not really having a strong trend at that moment in time. We finally hit it on the date of the 8th. Then we actually, for example, on the 11th, we hit the orange and the blue. Now, again, what does that mean? Well, the short-term investors, the intermediate investors, they could be seeing the exact same thing. The stock kind of runs up a little bit, pulls back a little bit, consolidates, and then what starts to happen? All of a sudden, you actually get the orange line, prices above it. Shorter-term traders might be trading the breakout. Why? Because price is above. All of a sudden, now that's hitting the blue line. Why? Well, because those intermediate investors, they might be getting in too. And all of a sudden, those longer-term investors who might be saying, I'm waiting for the breakout, which they're the lagging setup, okay, but they want to see more confirmation, all of a sudden it pushes to the upside. Now again, watch what kind of happens when the price really hits all three lines. Now, does it always do this? Of course not. But sometimes if you get shorter term, intermediate, longer term traders all trading something similar, you can sometimes kind of get these parabolic type moves. Now, with what we talked about here today, don't tell anyone, okay? So the moral of the story is some investors are not just looking at what short-term investors are doing. They're looking for the convergence of all types of investors potentially, shorter-term, intermediate, long-term, where these investors are coming together and they're seeing the exact same thing and trying to push up the trend. That does not guarantee that it's actually going to go higher, but it is interesting when you get actually people or investors really in the same boat of the direction. Now, what I want to do is this right here, this is the script, and it is case sensitive, okay? So exclamation point there, HQJ, capital B, E, capital W, capital T, and then O. That is where you want to go into this setup right here, go to open shared item right there, and what we're going to do now is just click on that, okay? And so that's what we want to type in on your side, where if you actually do that on your side, remember it is case sensitive, you go up to setup, open shared item, copy and paste that in. Remember, scripts are not guaranteed for accuracy or timing. You want to verify that it's doing what you want it to do, and we can add that to the platform. Now, also remember, if you'd like to actually join us on other sessions where we actually talk about different tools like this, join us right on the Trader Talks Schwab Coaching webcast, and that's right on YouTube. It's free to subscribe, see all of our videos, shorts, the playlist for different classes, and also be able to search for different topics as well. Also, make sure that you join me right on X as I post educational content there daily. My handle is @JamesBoydCS. Go out and practice looking at this. What happens in the examples that you see where the price is touching all three lines? What do you notice about trend? What happens? Go out there and test this for yourself, and make sure that you do that. And we'll see you in one of our classes coming up shortly on Trader Talks.